This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 1649, Comic Talk. Eventually.
You got it on Wednesday, and you was psyched about it, going to the volume up. These guys will talk about it, everything that geeks love. From kicks to laser beams, opinions like the seasons on everything you read. And comics, movies, games, toys, artists, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek Speak, Comic Geek. Uniting the world's mightiest heroes. This is...
I'm Brian Cressman.
I'm Shane Kelly.
I'm Adam Murdo.
I'm Chris Eberly.
And I'm Bryan Deemer.
Comic Geek Speak.
And
Pants.
yes.
Pants, what's going on with the audio?
Well,
You're rusty.
I told you before, months ago, that this stupid program, the Soundbite, went tits up on us.
A couple of times now. Equipment.
I think, unfortunately, that Mac is so old that it can't run the new software.
Well, it's not on the Mac, it's on the PC.
Oh, that's right. That's on the PC.
If you get in the studio more often, you know these things. It's falling apart. The cameras aren't working. I'm sorry.
I know. I was in the studio. What was I in the studio about 2 months ago? And
Yeah, you made it worse.
I spent like a Saturday tinkering with the cameras. I got one of the cameras to work again, but then the other one just mysteriously won't work, and I don't know why.
Isn't working. So
I don't know why the sound is not like why it's recording all weird with the sound like that. I just got a thing on my phone reminds me of all the stuff that I posted, every year on that day.
Uh-huh.
And it was 2 years ago yesterday that I hooked up the cameras in the studio. It's like they should not be broken after only 2 years, right? Like, I don't get it. Those were expensive-ass video cards. We asked all those people to give us money, and we got all those donations, and it's like, I don't know what's going on. If any of our listeners are within a 2-hour radius of Reading, Pennsylvania, and know anything about audio-video equipment, and they want to come and save the studio and get the cameras and stuff working again, please send me a message, and we'll set something up, because I'm out of my element now,
Well, if he's out of his element, we know nothing. As I said before, I'm just the talent.
Well, that's a wonderful idea, because I have some spotlight ideas in mind where I definitely need some video, so...
I know. Well, I mean, that was the whole point, right? Those high-res cameras, the episodes that we did look great. But now if the audio is getting all warbled and one of the cameras doesn't work, it's like I wanted to get a fourth and a fifth camera, and I wanted to do a close-up cam and all this cool stuff. I wanted to rearrange the studio and make it like a nightly news kind of setup, right?
This just in.
No, I mean for the camera visuals, like if we just built, like I wanted to take that table that we have and detach half of it because it's in two halves, right?
Yeah.
And then put a facing on the front.
Who knew?
And then you could have 4 people sit around because we never have more than 4 people in the studio anymore, right?
Right.
And you would have 2 people, like 2 cameras facing at 2 of you, and then 1 camera facing at all 4 of you, and then add a 4th camera for a close-up so you could just put comics underneath and see what you're talking about. It would be beautiful. Perfect. And it would take me a Saturday to do that. It's just that now if the shit doesn't even work, I don't know. I'm so... my spirit is crushed.
Oh, now wait a minute, my friend. All that aside, we are damn glad to have you on the show. The fabled founder has joined us. It's a moment to celebrate, not to bemoan.
Well, I do what I can.
And speaking of doing what he can, Brian, why don't you tell us who's sponsoring this episode? How's that for a segue?
Look at that guy. Somebody, he hasn't lost his touch.
They don't give these shows to chimps.
Well, maybe they do.
Just full-grown monkeys.
All right. So the sponsor. The sponsor is Drawer Boxes. Now, some of you are going to go, oh, man, Deemer's going to give the whole spiel again. You're damn right I am, because they're worth it. And if you're new to CGS or you've managed to somehow listen to every other episode where we've not talked about Drawer Boxes, here it goes. The bane of every comic fan's existence is stacks of long boxes, or short boxes if that's your poison, And you need to get in the one on the bottom, and so you break your back. You have to go on workman's comp because you're lifting off, 3, 4, 5 150-pound boxes so you can get to that one issue of Great Lakes Avengers that's buried on the bottom that you need for some reason. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. Drawer boxes are cardboard boxes, just like your regular boxes. However, they slide in and out of a sleeve, and amazingly enough, you can stack them like 6 high, and it doesn't stop them from being able to open and close. And they're really sturdy. I've had them for years, and they still work just fine. And they cost a little bit more than your regular box, but they'll save you so much aggravation. You can, shove them on the bottom of your closet. Like, I actually have them lining my closet, and then I have all kinds of stuff on top of them. And so I can just open the boxes whenever I want. My 10-year-old daughter's reading all my grooves, and so I just slide that drawer open, get her out the next 10 issues, hand them over, no problem. It's super simple. You can go to collectiondrawer.com to learn all about them. They also have long boxes, they have short boxes, they have magazine-sized boxes, right? They got little plastic connectors that will attach boxes together side to side. So if you want to make like a whole cube of, a bunch of boxes, you can do that. They have dividers that'll go inside so you can, segregate your comics in sections however you want to do it. It's really well thought out. It's a very small, privately owned company. Rich is the owner. We've been dealing with Rich for over 10 years. He's a super nice guy. He's genuine. He created these just because he thought there was long boxes were a pain in the ass, and he knew it. And he thought, what, if he made 1,000 of them, he'd be lucky if he sold all 1,000 or whatever. And now it's all these years later, and he's got tons of them, and just keeps selling them because they're awesome. So check them out, collectiondrawer.com, and buy yourself some drawer boxes and get rid of those pesky long boxes. I just saw a picture on Facebook. Amazing cartoonist Ed Piskor, does Hip Hop Family Tree, as well as he did WYSIWYG, and he did a lot of work with what's his face, Harvey Pekar. Okay. He showed a picture of his studio, and there he's got the stack of long boxes in the corner, and I was like, Ed, what are you doing? I almost commented on the photo. I thought, I can't troll the guy, like I just got, but, even famous comic artists need drawer boxes too.
All right. Well, this is going to be all over the place kind of show. But first, Shane, it's been a while since you've actually been in the studio as well.
Yeah, it has
Welcome back
been.
to Shane as well.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. I wanted to take a moment just to thank everyone who reached out to me when they heard that my dad had passed away. It was a little bit over a month ago now. And it was very sweet, all the messages and kind words and thoughts and prayers and all that I got. So I really do appreciate it. But that hindered and probably will hinder me a little bit from being on the show because I go down and help take care of Mom and stuff now. But it's been a rough year so far.
Yeah. But, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he buy you your first comics?
Yeah, well, he did. We used to go down to Pottstown to a certain hoagie shop, which I cannot remember the name of the hoagie shop. I don't remember what street it was on. I could find it. I can drive there yet. But across the street from the hoagie shop, in a corner, what used to look like a little old pharmacy, was Turks, Turk''S Comics. And that was where I first walked in and got G.I. Joe number 21.
Oh.
Very mistakenly. I thought I was going in for 20. They didn't have it. I just picked up this other one. I got home and I'm like, what is wrong with this? There's no words in it. But as we would get hoagies there once every week or every other week, I would start getting more and more comics. That guy ended up moving from across the street where he was to the store aside of the hoagie shop in the same block. And I went there for many years until he closed up, and then it started moving around Pottstown to different owners. But that's where I first started getting them. My dad would take me, even if we weren't getting hoagies, when I started really getting into the collecting aspect of it. No matter what, he would find a way to get me there every week. And if I was sick, because, I was a kid, I got sick, I would give him a list. He would go in, give the list to the guy behind the counter. The guy on the counter would pull them all, give them to my dad, and then he'd bring them home for me. The first time I did it, I had the prices all wrong, but after that, I had them all in order, and the guy got to know not only me, but my dad when he would go in and do that for me. So that was a lot of fun. There were times when after we would get to the comic store, pick up my books, my dad belonged to a German club in Pottstown, And we would go hang out there. My aunt and uncle at the time were members and helped run it and stuff. So Dad would sit at the bar and have a beer. I'd have a Coke and read some comics, or we'd throw darts and I'd read some comics and talk to my aunt and uncle, and then I'd read some comics. And that's something we did very often. If not it was close to every week, if not every week, when I wasn't sick or something. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. He did also one time, he and my mother were shopping at the Quakertown Farmers Market, which back in the late 80s, early 90s, certainly the late 80s, mid to late 80s, had a comic book stand in it. And for my birthday one year, he bought me a hardback copy of Batman Year One. Way back in the 80s time frame. So this was like the first print hardback version of this. Really weird looking shadowed cover, kind of orange and reddish with a black bat symbol in Batman Year One. And I still have it to this day. I won't get rid of that, partially just because Dad bought it for me. That was my first collected edition of anything in a comic setting that I can remember getting. And that was kind of special for my dad at that time to go kind of out of his way to notice not only a comic book shop to pick something Batman-ish that he thought I would like, and I got it for my birthday that year, so that was kind of cool. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. My dad always was very supportive of anything. I mean, I played baseball and soccer when I was younger, and he loved sports, but when I was done with it, he didn't qualm about it. Years later, I found out he was disappointed that I didn't continue with baseball or something because he liked watching me play, and he assisted coaching some of my teams, but never once did he ever say that to me because I wanted to go into the music department. I started doing singing and dancing and musicals and stuff, and he just said, I can't get to absolutely everything because of his work schedule at that time. He said, but what I can get to, I'll get to. And that's all I remember is him being there as much as possible. Even if he was a little bit late, he'd show up at some point just to see what was going on and what I was involved with. Both he and my mother. So they've always been just supportive in that way. So, yeah, I miss Dad, but it's a lot better than seeing him suffer. He didn't suffer a whole lot. He died of cancer. We found out in January he had terminal brain cancer. He had some skin cancer a couple years ago, and he was cleared of that for a few years, like 3.5 years. But then this stuff started to crop up, and January is when we found out, like I said, and that's just it. By March, he was gone. Yeah. It was a surprise, to say the least, that in January when we found that out. But yeah, I was glad in a way that it went the way it did as quickly as it did, because he did not suffer much at all. He was home all of that time except for the last 2 weeks, and that's really when he deteriorated. But he was eating stuff right up until the end. I hear stories of people who can't eat things and have problems, choke, and their brain forgets how to do things, and I know his did at some points, but he loved vanilla ice cream and pudding, and he was eating that right up until the end, right the night before even. He woke up a Friday morning and he just fell asleep again, and that was it. He just peacefully never woke up again. And I couldn't ask for anything more than that, for everything that was going on in his head at that time. So, yeah, I was very thankful for that. It was a short kind of suffering that he did, as much as he did. And he was never in any pain, never really suffered. So if it had to happen, I was not unhappy that it went quickly like that. Right. And I know how Dad and I felt about each other. I talked to him a couple times throughout those last couple of months, and we had some really good talks. And he said to me the one day, he pointed his finger at me, and like I wear glasses now. I didn't always. My dad, he pretty much ever since I can remember had them. But if I was in trouble, he would look out the top of his glasses at me and give me a little scowl, and his voice would change a little bit. And we were sitting in the hospital the one day, and he does the look out of his glasses, and he points his finger at me. He says, "Now, I did my job. I raised you and your sister. It's now your turn. You have to raise your kids and take care of Carlene, and Carlene has to take care of you. Help your mother, but your job is your kids. And if you don't do it, I'll be watching." And that was, that's a little bit of fear of Dad in there. And I take that to heart. He really never wanted any of us to be inconvenienced by anything that was going on. One of the last times I saw him, he said, "What are you doing here?" And I said, "Well, we came to see you. We're going down to see Mom next and do a couple things for her." And he said, "I am the last man on the totem pole. You go see your mother. You make sure your kids are taken care of. Maybe you come see me. Do not go out of your way." "Dad, I know. Calm down." He was getting kind of angry. I'm like, "All right, Dad, we're going to go. Don't worry." But and that's just how Dad was. He wanted to please everybody, and he wanted to put nobody out in any way, shape, or form. And that was my dad.
Well, you did a yeoman's job at the funeral reading that wonderful speech.
Thank you.
And just I want to bring up just one thing, tell one story. Tell again, please, if you wouldn't mind, because this knocked me out. The story about the roses.
Oh, my dad, when I was little, I didn't think he did it much since I moved out of the house. It just kind of went by the wayside, I guess. But when I was little and all through school, through high school, and even a little bit after graduating high school, every Christmas Eve, my dad would show up with a dozen red roses for my mom every year. And when I got married, that's something that I started to do with my wife, with Carlene. And I have done it every year since, and I will do it every year that I possibly can until I can't anymore. It's just something that I can always remember my dad doing for my mom. Carlene does not like roses all that much, which is why we don't, she'd rather have fresh flowers, not only because they're a little bit, they're cheaper, but they last longer. But she does like getting them. And when and the first time I did it for her, I explained the story of why I was doing it, and she enjoys it. And there are years that we just get busy and she forgets. So she'll come home from work or running around, and all of a sudden there's a dozen red roses right on the middle of the counter, all set up in a vase and stuff. And then it hits her, oh, yes, that's right. And of course, that was early on. But now she knows it's going to happen. And come hell or high water, I figure out a way to get out there and get them. I've done it when I'm sick. I've done it when I can't make it, and I tell my boss, I got to leave for like 15 minutes. I'll be right back, and I go do it. But yeah, it always happens, and I thank my dad for that.
Yeah. Well, I thought that was a cool story, so thank you for sharing that again.
Oh, sure, yeah. There was just one day I was sitting down. I was going to look on the computer and just look at iTunes movies and look at comic book news and stuff. And this is probably mid to late February, and it just hit me to start writing something, and that's when I wrote it. The whole thing out. Now, I fixed a couple things, of course, that I had spelled wrong and just typed too fast and didn't make sense when I read it again. But just one day something hit me, and I knew I wanted to say something at my dad's funeral, and that's what I came up with. So it was nice. It was stuff that my dad had taught me, and then some funny stuff that if you knew my dad or even saw a picture of my dad, you'd understand some of it. And everybody seemed to get a kick out of it, so I was happy about that. I like ending things on a happier note if possible. Yeah. And while still a sad day, it was fun to hear people laugh at that kind of stuff that I was telling.
Yeah, that was really nice. You did a good job with that.
Yeah, well, thank you.
You did very well.
And I can sit here and talk about it. I have my moments. The other day, I was listening to the Star Wars panels that they were live streaming, and I was a little, silly-ish, teary-eyed at the new trailer because I was so excited. And I was thinking about that, and then I got into thinking about Mom and Dad taking me to see Star Wars the first time when I was 5, and something just hit me, and I lost it for like 20 minutes. And that happens. But yeah, for the most part, I'm good. It's good to be back in the studio, and good to get back to some kind of normalcy in the world for at least a little while. And
maybe even buying some toys.
Yeah, we can talk a little bit. We'll talk about R2-D2. That's all we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about anything else but R2-D2. Pants helped me procure one of the 40th anniversary Hasbro R2-D2s on the classic Kenner backs. Even though there's 6-inch scale, I couldn't resist an R2-D2. That was the first figure I ever bought as a kid that my mom let me pick out at Kmart when there was one in Pottstown, and that was 1978, March-May kind of time frame. And I've always had a soft spot for R2-D2 then. So, yeah, I get a lot of R2 stuff.
Happy to help out there.
Oh, my God, that was thrilling.
If I can do a segue, if I can, into Star Wars, because this past weekend was Celebration down in Orlando, and I'm sure, Brian, and you have things to talk about. Now, if you talk about the trailer, you got to give me a sign so I can get out of the studio.
Okay, all right.
So, but, I mean, because this is... I guess you said they streamed all the panels
just
live?
About everyone that I could see, they streamed live. And then when they were done streaming, they were recorded. So, like, I missed a couple. I just went back and watched them on their recorded feed. It was great.
So, what kind of things were going on there? And again, anyone, feel free to jump in here because.
Did you watch any of these, Brian, when they were going on?
I didn't. I didn't watch a single thing.
Oh, I had heard they were going to do it, and I wanted to at least catch the 40th anniversary one. I was hoping they'd bring out the cast, George Lucas and stuff, and they did. They brought out George Lucas first, talked to him for a little while. Warwick Davis was the moderator, who played Wicket. and a couple other characters in Star Wars as the movies progressed. They then brought out Anthony Daniels. They brought out Billy D. Williams, Peter Mayhew. They brought out Ian McDermott. Is that right? Or Ian McDermott?
Yeah, the Emperor.
Yeah, the Emperor. Even Hayden Christensen was there, which was great. He got a great reception. Then they brought out Mark Hamill, and then they brought out Harrison Ford. And everybody went wacko then. And it was fun to some of the stories that they told, of course, I've heard and read over the years, but some of them I didn't. And I'm sure everybody heard bits and pieces of all of them. Some probably heard all of them, but it was still a lot of fun to see them all on stage together, all talking about Star Wars. George talked a little bit about how he created it, who he created it for, and went through some of that stuff. They were telling funny stories about how they auditioned. I really enjoyed it. I got a real big kick out of that 40th anniversary panel. I was really glad to sit down and watch that. I did watch really live, because the 40th one I watched after it had ended. I forgot it was on, and I watched it later that night on Friday, I think it was. I watched it recorded. On Saturday, I watched the Rebels panel live. That was a lot of fun to see all the voice actors together, talking about the fourth season and all the stuff that was going to happen with that. I watched some of the official The Last Jedi panel because I caught it halfway through, and then I watched it through to the trailer. But I haven't gone back to start that one and see all the beginning part of it that I missed. I watched the cosplay costume thing that was going on, and some of this was going on, so I'd have it on my phone and I'd have headsets on or something, because I was cleaning the house on Saturday a lot and moving stuff around. So I'd prop it up in a corner and be able to watch it while I'm going through boxes of crap that we have, or I'd carry it with me, carrying Wash up and down the stairs, and I just kept it streaming. And then when I was all the way up in the comic room doing stuff, I just opened the laptop, turned it on, and I just let it run all day. So anytime I was up there, I could hear it, see it, doing whatever I was doing. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed being able to see all that stuff live streamed as much as I could, or watching the recorded ones when I was missing it. In between panels, they'd have panoramics of the crowd and stuff, and that was fine. I was trying to see if I knew anybody, because I knew a lot of people down there, apparently.
Well, now, speaking of cosplay, did you see Ryan Patton?
Ryan, oh my God, that was fantastic.
Ryan, he's a coworker of mine at the Toys R Us. I've known him for like 15 years. And he cosplayed as old Luke from the end of Force Awakens. And he was telling me, he got this like screen accurate costume made. I think he got it made over in England. They shipped it over to the States.
Get out.
He just got it like a week ago from customs, everything. He was like, and I saw some of the pictures he posted.
It's phenomenal.
It's
phenomenal.
What?
Phenomenal. It's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and all the pictures that people, he was on camera, a couple people.
Yeah, he was on local news down in Florida. Then he was on the Today Show up here. Somebody in Jersey caught it. I saw him on Good Morning America for a clip.
Because he's got the saltiest beard.
And the longer hair.
Yeah.
And he looked great.
And it was the hand. He was rocking that.
It was his birthday that day.
Yeah.
He had all kinds of good stuff happening to him when he was down there. It looked like a lot of fun. And I knew about half a dozen other people, as it turned out, down there as well. So I kept watching everybody's feeds on Facebook for pictures, videos, little snippets and tidbits of information that was coming out. I had a really good time Saturday following all that stuff. I couldn't follow it as much Sunday with being Easter and us running around, but listened to it a little bit Friday night, all day Saturday, and it was a lot of fun. They gave some great stories, great information. I enjoyed the trailer coming out. I know we talked briefly today about there was one guy who somebody posted a side-by-side of the Force Awakens trailer and the Last Jedi trailer. And
dude, it's amazing,
man,
right?
They are beat for beat, soundbite for soundbite almost. It's incredible how alike they are, and it was really cool to watch it. I couldn't believe it.
Shane, was there a tribute to Carrie Fisher?
There was a tribute to Carrie Fisher. I've
seen that video online.
I watched the video. There's more to it, which I have not watched, and I think that's where part that I didn't see was John Williams comes in and conducts a Florida orchestra.
I heard about that.
In a tribute to her. But the video clip, the actual video montage that they put together of Carrie Fisher was so sweet.
Yeah, all those
many
interviews, clips over the last 40 years.
Some of the interviews I had seen that they had shown when she had passed away, but some of that stuff I never saw before. And yeah, that was very well done. And thrilling to watch and see the crowd's reaction to all that as well. Not just the Carrie Fisher stuff, but everything. But yeah, that was very sweet to see the Carrie Fisher video. I absolutely loved it. I couldn't think of a better way that they could have done that. It was just phenomenal. And then her daughter, Billy, oh gosh, I forget her daughter's name. She was there, and she got on stage and did the whole "Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi,
Oh, yeah.
You're my only hope." That was really cool to watch, too. She rushed it a little bit. It was talking a little bit fast. I think she might have been a little nervous. I mean, how could you not be in front of all those people? There were thousands of people there. But she did a great job, and there's a great picture of her, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and George Lucas together that is kind of replacing the other photo, which would have been Carrie Fisher in it, of course. Not replacing, that's not the right word, but just in addition to the next year of it. But that's a great photo, too. And in between all of the panels, again, they had this panoramic view of the crowd that they would go around, but they also had a little, I think it's called the Star Wars Show. It's just simply that. I think it's put out by Lucasfilm. And they would be on stage, and people would stop by, actors, comic book artists, sculptors, people from Sideshow, people from Hasbro. They were giving out prizes, trivia things. So I was listening to some of that stuff as it would go on as well. And I got a kick out of a lot of it. Some of it, you know, if it was a long pause with the crowd, I'd turn it off for a little bit, go do something else on my phone, because I was draining my battery like mad watching the video stuff. But yeah, I had a really good time watching it. It looked like a lot of fun. I wish I could go to something like that. I've just never been able to get the money and time together to do something like that with all the other stuff we always have going on.
Yeah, because Brian, you were at one, was it 2 years ago?
No, it was more than that. It was like 5 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Celebration 5.
All right.
And it was a lot of fun. That was my first year. I finished my Snowtrooper like a week before that. It was my first official 501st appearance. Was at Celebration, so it was a hell of a thing to appear at. Yeah, it was great fun.
One of the cool pictures I saw there, I don't know if you saw it on Facebook, Katie Cook was set up in the art section there because she's an official licensed Lucas artist for Star Wars. And a young girl came by and cosplayed as Katie Cook.
That was awesome.
Oh, my God. That was amazing.
She even did the look with the glasses and the little smirk. Oh, my God.
Look, yes.
That was awesome.
And Katie posts, all right, shut down the convention. This kid won it.
Yep. That was great. Everywhere I saw that picture, I liked it. Multiple people had it up.
Now, I did actually see a comic announcement come out of there that IDW and Lucasfilm are launching a new line of all-ages Star Wars Adventures comics.
Yep, how about that?
Huh.
Never would I have thought that with all the stuff that they're doing from Marvel. But hey, why not? It looks really good. The couple sketches or snippets that I heard about it, man, it really sounds interesting.
Yeah, because I don't believe they actually have a creative team lined up at this point yet. There's nothing been announced. But it's going to come out later this year, so that was kind of odd. I thought like Marvel had
I thought so too.
Whole big McGilla with Star Wars.
Well, lots of other Disney properties are showing up at other publishers. So
yeah,
if it's a project whose tone the Marvel's editorial people think isn't quite right for the Marvel brand, then sure, they'll farm it out. And I would be surprised if we didn't see some Katie Cook work in that project.
I would hope so. Well, they're also go ahead.
Well, I'm just, from a business standpoint, though, like it does confuse me because if they don't, Marvel could just hire somebody to draw or write in whatever fashion they want. Why would they give some profits to IDW when they could keep it all for themselves, right? That's
the puzzle.
Obviously there's something going on there, some business deal that I don't understand, right? But on from the surface, it makes no sense at all, right? I mean, they own the whole damn thing. They could do whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
In addition to the announcement of Rebel Season 4 stuff, they talked about at some point there's another animation show coming about, and it's more like adventures of especially the female characters, the Princess Leia and Rey, Padme, very, not cutesy, that's not what I want to say, but very kid-friendly animation style. I think Maz from The Force Awakens, the woman, the female character that owned the bar, I think she's telling stories about all of this, or at least in part, saying, hey, here's the story of Princess Leia from such and such, and then they cut to the adventure that she's talking about, and they have the whole animation thing going on. And with that's a whole new set of toys and dolls to go along with that whole new animation show when it comes out.
Well, now, speaking of the female in Star Wars, Sabine Wren, I have no idea who this character is, but actually when you were in the store today, or sure after you came by, I was looking through our Star Wars section, and we have like some masks of hers, and it looked like it was a Magneto mask for a minute. Who is she?
She's a Mandalorian. She's on Rebels, the cartoon.
Okay.
And her family is high up in the Mandalore hierarchy, so to speak. She was part of the Rebels group, that initial 5 characters that started on the show in the first season. And like all the other characters, they've all grown. She's gone on to other things as the 3rd season has progressed. And then the 4th season will come with some interesting things. I don't want to say too much.
Fine. I looked at that mask and it looked like Magneto for a minute.
She has a very she's a warrior. She believes in going against the Empire and working for the good of people, which is why she hooked up with Kanan and oh my gosh, can't remember the other woman, Zeb and Chopper, and then they pick up Ezra along the way, which is the kid. But she also is very artistic. So when they get a piece of equipment or in her room, it's very painted and drawn. So her whole Mandalore armor is all painted all over with something she did to make it her own. Okay. That cartoon, I really enjoyed the Clone Wars for what it was. It was good. There was some interesting things. I didn't like how they ended it because they really weren't allowed to end it. They just stopped it. And then they announced Rebels, and I was like, okay. Rebels, to me, is phenomenal. There's a lot of Easter eggs in it. There's a lot of neat things that they tie in that make sense. Some of it's a little forced. Most of it isn't.
No pun intended?
Right. Most of it isn't. It's more of a natural progression of storytelling for what they're trying to accomplish. And I think they do a bang-up job. Me and the kids, all 3 of us, we sit down to watch Rebels every week when it's on. They've done a really good job the last 2 years with it. First season was a little shaky, as most first seasons are, but boy, once they got to the 2nd and 3rd season now, it took off like gangbusters. And then with the stuff that happened with Rogue One, that sort of Easter egged some Rebel stuff in there, it just got at least me and people that I talk to, more excited about it. And then now this 4th season will come, and that'll go in full force, I'm sure. Again, no pun intended, but yeah, they do a great job with it. I've been really thrilled with that cartoon.
Did you guys want to talk about the trailer at all?
That's if Brian wants to. I don't mind.
I don't need to. There wasn't like that much in the trailer. It was exactly what I wanted from the trailer. Yeah. It was just a couple, just like the first trailer, for episode 7 was. You saw some cool X-wings, you saw some cool lightsaber stuff, and you were like, "Yes, I want more." And then that's where I stopped. I didn't watch any additional trailers for episode 7, and I won't watch any additional trailers for episode 8. It's not like we even have to wait that long. It only comes out in December, for goodness sakes.
Right. I'm sure I'll catch other things as they come out on TV or in movie theaters. I think it'd be more interesting when you get to that point to watch that side by side, because that
I won't get to watch it for another 8 months, Shane.
But that just blew me away how they did that. Each trailer is really, it hits on every single beat all along the way.
Remind me in about 8 months to watch that once I see the movie. Because I ain't going to watch any more trailers.
I will, because I'll still be watching it.
I know you will, but it's like now if I go to see the movies in the theater, I have to close my eyes and go, la, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
So one thing. Go ahead, Brian. I'm sorry.
Well, I just wanted to say, Pants, you know me and spoilers, right?
Yeah.
There's like nothing in that trailer for episode 8 that is really a spoiler.
It kind of makes you a little more confused.
It just makes you want to see the movie, right? Like it's the way that trailers are supposed to be.
But yeah, I mean, I already want to see
it. Tease you with a cool couple visuals, maybe a sentence or two that you're like, "Oh shit, what does that mean?" And then that's it. You don't know anything about the plot, and you don't have any idea what's going to happen, right? That's it.
One thing I would say, and again, this is not spoiling anything, Pants, is that I'm wondering if when you're talking about a trilogy like Empire, will this be like the downbeat
I think so.
installment that'll be perhaps the most powerful of the 3? And I'm just curious to see if that's going to be the case.
because it will be the penultimate episode.
That's right.
Love that word. All right.
So my big question, and we'll have to wait probably 2 years or 3 years or something to know for sure, but are they really going to stop at episode 9?
No.
If Disney is going to make billions of dollars on Star Wars movies, and they're going to do these one-off movies in between the Han Solo movie and whatever, they have to keep making movies, right?
Yeah.
So sure, they could turn back the clock and they could do Old Republic stuff, or they could do more, Rebel Alliance stuff or whatever. But really, the story has to just keep moving forward. So we say the penultimate, but it's not gonna be, right?
No, I think that they already said that they're looking at doing another trilogy.
You're just going to write it into the ground.
After episode 9, after that last standalone movie, then maybe another trilogy. But that could be hearsay. But I agree with you, Brian. I don't think they'll stop at this.
They could jump to the far future and do like Star Wars Legacy.
Oh,
movies.
absolutely. There's a ton of different things they could do.
And Rogue One also demonstrated they can do all kinds of great fill-in stories in between the major arcs. So
Yeah.
that's it can go on in perpetuity.
Obviously, the two things that I think would be great, right? Is they cast young Han Solo, right, for the Han Solo movie. Well, it's 2 movies, right, or whatever, maybe, I don't know. But they got to cast young Lando too, right? And so now you could have those are 2 franchises that could go on almost forever, right?
Yeah.
You have an indefinite number of Han Solo adventures and an indefinite number of Lando Calrissian adventures, and then crossovers or whatever. I mean, it's just like, come on, there's 20 movies right there,
Not to mention, you could do a whole series of movies on what Luke has been doing and all the time he was in isolation when he fled the New Republic. There's a whole bunch of stories probably in there they could tell as well.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited
I'm ready.
for all that stuff coming down the
Give them
pipe.
to me all.
You got it.
All right.
Or as Marvel has demonstrated, you could do some great Darth Vader standalone films, because their Darth Vader comic was tremendous.
Oh, yes, it was.
No kidding. Well, and since that stuff's canon now, I wonder if they would just movie-ize some of those stories, which they could.
Movie eyes.
Yes.
And I know I see people on Facebook and stuff have problems with Rogue One, but I'll tell you what, whether you like the story or not, which I do, I thought it was very well told. Visually, that movie is just beautiful, spectacular. The way the ships are tiny yet look perfect, the way the battles go, the way the settings, the background, the beaches, the forest, the desert, the mountain. Oh, I can watch that movie just to see how beautiful it looks. The cinematography of it, just spectacular. Just blew me away.
All right. Any other topics anyone wants to bring up right now? It's open forum.
Can I shill my sail again, Pansy?
Oh, yes. Speaking of Star Wars, because I guess May 4th, of course, is Star Wars Day. Then 2 days later, it's Free Comic Book Day. So if you're not going to a free comic book store, you really should, because this is to help support the local stores. And, of course, our own Chris Eberly of Wild Pig Comics, 14 South Michigan Avenue. Again, what they're doing is putting on a humongous sale that you should come to wherever you are in the galaxy. How's that for a segue? Too much?
Nope. Spot on, my friend.
Spot on. All right. Anyway, shill away, Chris.
Thanks, Pantaloons. Actually, Pants, I wanted to mention that I am in the midst of looking at some collections that I may be purchasing to add to our already sizable sell inventory. And not a lock yet, but we'll be looking at this coming weekend probably a massive Batman collection.
How massive are we talking here?
It sounds like at least 3,000 books.
Wow.
All from the 90s.
It's a lot of Batman.
No, actually, this is an old customer of mine. I know him quite well. He's hardcore. It is Silver Age to the present.
Nice.
Ooh, I do have a few Silver Age holes.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make a deal on that. I'll keep you and the listeners posted. But in general, as Panaroo said there, so May 6th, Saturday, Wild Pig Comics, 14 South Michigan Avenue, Kenilworth, New Jersey, wildpigcomics.com. Doors open at noon till 6 p.m. Massive sale. We're bringing in thousands of back issues over the next few weeks to fill up our bins again. We're going to have 30,000 back issues for sale. All the 50-cent comics are going to be 25% off. All of our sticker price books, which are mostly below guide already, 25% off. The return of wall books to Wild Pig Comics.
Yes.
And we're adding more of those as well, 25% off. Our used trades, 25% off, and most of those are like new. And as we're phasing out our Diamond account, all of our new trades will be 50% off, just like the old days.
Bastard.
Shane, come on.
Shane,
the
sweet nothing.
Pantmobile?
God, I missed you. And, of course, we'll be doing a raffle at approximately 3 p.m.
The raffle's coming back.
It's back, baby. It's back.
Yep. $1 a ticket, or you can buy 6 tickets for $5. Get as many tickets as you want. You can put as many tickets as you want on any particular item or number of items. Half the proceeds of this raffle will go in the name of our beloved comrade Jamie D to the Hero Initiative.
Nice.
Which is, as many listeners probably know, is a charity that tells you how to help out comic book creators in the twilight of their lives with various expenses. And the raffle list is right up your alley, Panaru. We've got art. We've got IDW artist editions. We've got statues. We've got wall books. You name it. If you go on our Facebook page, we're starting to release those with visuals. I mentioned in the last episode. You can look, for example, for Darwin Cook, Batman and Superman statues, a Francis Manipul Flash statue, the Chris Samney Daredevil artist edition from IDW, the America's Best Comics artist edition from IDW. What did I say, Pants? Batman 133, I think, was what I mentioned last time, with the classic Batmite Ace the Bat Hound cover.
And Batwoman as well.
And also Batwoman, yes.
I think it's Batwoman for President or something like that, if I'm not mistaken.
Rings a bell. From IDW, the Jack Kirby Pen and Ink Artisans edition, which is gorgeous. It's the first issues of Commandy, the Demon, and OMAC. Beautiful edition. I'm forgetting other stuff, but the raffle is always worth people's time. And, all stores do sales, but I can say with a great deal of confidence and pride and experience, most of them are not as good as ours because our stuff is not overpriced to begin with. So when they do a fake sale and they bring it down to like a sale price, maybe then you're actually paying guide. In our store, it's already below that in most cases, and you're getting an additional discount. I mean, you're getting 50-cent comics are now at 37 cents.
Wow.
So, and we're stocking up, hot and heavy for this event. We'll have, of course, free comic books. This is the last year we'll be doing a free comic book event because, again, with an enormous sigh of relief, I'm removing myself from the shackles of Diamond in the next month or so. So please join us on Saturday, May 6th. Pants will be there. Murd will be there. Shady, can you make it or no?
I don't think I can this year. I was talking to Carlene a little bit about that. I think I have family obligation stuff I got to do.
Family schmamly. That's my motto.
I know it is.
What about the Deemers?
Shady.
But I might give Adam a 20 to put in the raffle because I don't trust Pants with that.
I'm sitting right here.
I'd happily be your proxy.
I know. I love you, Pants, but I'm giving it to Adam.
I'm the trustworthy one.
Shady Poo, you'll be missed, brother. You'll be missed.
You're the sneaky one.
I'm not the sneaky one. I'm as honest as the day is long.
Okay, well, you're the compulsive one in that case. See, he has no response to that.
Well, Pants, I'm looking forward to you getting beat red as you get, all hot and bothered about certain raffle items as the raffle commences. Very excited to see that.
Well, let me just say this one thing about the raffle. If anyone's listening, if you don't go there and put your money down, I'm winning half of those items there. I'm telling you right now.
That's true. That's probably
I've
true.
done it before. I've
Yeah,
come
you
up with I came home. Remember that picture? Like I'm holding the Ten Commandments, the artist edition, just like taking down from the.
All that is required for Pants to win is for good men to do nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was no small amount of not in a mean way, but I was not unhappy when I won the Nick Fury one.
Yeah, you bugger.
Or the one
the
Batman
Nick
issue.
Fury artist edition.
Yeah.
Steranko. Brian's favorite artist, Jim Steranko.
Oh, yeah. Hell of a guy.
So, Brian, you going to go to Wild Pig as well for the free comic book day sale?
I can't. So get this. My whole family and my brother and his family and my parents, they're like, "Oh, we got to go camping." Yeah, let's schedule a weekend camping. The only weekend that everybody can go camping is free comic book day weekend.
I feel your pain.
So, I'm going to cut out at some point on Saturday and find the nearest comic book store and take the kids because I can't not go to Free Comic Book Day, right?
Yeah.
But it's like I can't go far for it, and I can't make a whole day of it like we sometimes do. So
Yeah.
Well, comrades in arms will be deeply missed.
I'll make up for it somehow.
Speaking of buying comics and back issues and so forth, as this episode goes up, C2E2 is just about going to happen. This Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the 21st, 2nd, and 3rd of April, I will be there. Mr. Adam Murdo will be there.
Hey-o.
We won't have a table. We'll be wandering around, but you can probably find us more times than not at table P7 in Artist Alley, where the Benson sisters will be set up shop.
Nice.
Julie and Shauna, they will have copies of their first trade from Back on the Birds of Prey, Who Was Oracle, for sale. So stop by and check that out. And I'm looking at the guest list, and it's another crazy, amazing guest list out there. It's like I already have some money put aside for that. Free comic book days coming up. Tonight, I used to use my poker night, but I gave up to talk to you guys tonight.
Nice.
So
Nice.
I'll have to get my poker winnings after the con to other than have more money to spend at the shows.
Which you'll also get.
Well, I said like I'm going to win it.
Yeah.
I'm actually up for the year so far. $200. So
Nice.
You know, I'm sorry, Shane. Corduroy, I'm really moved that you gave a poker night for us. That's very significant, man. Sorry, Shane.
It's for you guys.
I loved the video that the Benson sisters put up of them at the Bee Gees concert.
Oh my God, yes.
Singing along
It
with How Deep Is Your
resurfaced
Love.
again. Yeah. Oh, that was great.
Actually, Shane, I just wanted to comment. I thought of you. We talked about this in our previous episode. I just did my DCBS order for the month, and I did order the Justice League Waha Omnibus.
Bugger.
Because I've never read all of those stories. I've read many of them. I want to read them all in sequence and then discuss it with you on the air.
Okay.
So
All right. I'll have to.
I'm looking forward to getting that.
I had it. I put my order in. I had it on my list. I took it off the list. I had it on my list. Well, now wait. I had
A precedent is broken.
Hey, the month's not up yet. I had it on the list. I took it off the list. I figured out I have all the floppies. I have the original first 2 trade paperbacks. I have all the new hardbacks. I have the new trade paperbacks. I have the bound volume that all the guys here got me. I really couldn't bring myself to put $50 down for the omnibus, but I keep teetering back and forth because it's Justice League. But it's $50.
And I quote, crap on a cracker.
I know. And I'm not a fan of omnibuses, but man, that's the one to get because I love that book.
Doesn't somebody have a birthday coming up soon?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Because I don't buy enough crap already.
And it should come out in time for Father's Day.
It might, yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
True. And Shane, if you don't get it, I'll bring it into the studio and we can look at it together.
Okay. I'll have to look up.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll look up what issues are in it and start trying to read through them again.
Oh
so
my
I'm a
God,
little refreshed to
It's got
discuss
everything.
it with you.
The Suicide Squad is in there.
It's fabulous. I looked at it and thought it was quite well done for all that's compacted in there.
But Shane, knowing your hatred of the massive binding, it's over 1,000 pages.
I know. I hate that. But damn it, if that's the book to get, that'd be the one, man, because I love that run. That is my go-to run.
Talk about favorite runs. So Clara, who's 10, she I mentioned something about Gru one day, and she's like, "Oh, can I read it?" I was like, "Of course you can read it." So I had the first 30 issues bound. So I gave that to her, and she read that in like 3 days.
Nice.
And then she wanted the rest of them. So now, in a week and a half, she's read all 120 issues from Marvel.
Oh my God!
The Life of Gru graphic novel, the Death of Gru graphic novel, and the 6 epic reprints the Gru Chronicles that they released that collected all the Eclipse stuff, the Pacific stuff, and the special. So she's read everything up until the end of the Marvel run. So yeah, she loved it. She read it all. So
That's
I'm
awesome.
a very proud father right now. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
So now I have to decide if I want to, because I had 2 copies of all that stuff. So now I have to, if I want to let her read further, I have to be like, okay, well, these are the comics now that I only have 1 copy of. The Image run and the Dark Horse stuff. It's like you have to be very, very extra, very careful, very extra careful, and it's like, so we'll see. But she wants to read more, so
That's great.
That is great. So, Brian, what else are you reading right now?
I am reading most of the Bendis stuff from Marvel.
Jessica Jones.
I'm not actually reading Jessica Jones. Somehow I missed it when it started. Like, I don't know. I just wasn't paying attention in previews, and then it's like, oh, now I'm like 5 issues behind. What? I don't. So I'm probably going to look for a trade at the library or something. I'm also reading Champions from Marvel because that's just really good. And I started reading a variety of some Image books that have been coming out. I really love Paper Girls. That's a lot of fun.
I have the first line of that to read.
I got the first issue so far of the new Jeff Lemire book. What's that called? It's like a small town, just like normal people doing their thing, having relationships, whatever. Like classic Jeff Lemire. I think was it Image or Dark Horse maybe that's putting it out?
You don't mean Black Hammer, do you?
No, that doesn't sound right. Pants, I see you looking it up.
Royal City? Is it Royal City?
Yes, Royal City.
Royal City. You have a winner. Hold your cards.
Who's publishing that?
Image. Yep, Image Comics.
Image. All right, yeah. I feel like there's another Image book. Well, it was like that 6-issue series from Mark Miller, like some fantasy series, where that was really good. I can't remember what it was called. I suck at that.
Yeah, that one was very Flash Gordonish, I think.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Like, people die on Earth and then they get resurrected on this other planet, and it's like this crazy fantasy world. And that was pretty good. And I think there was another one too, but I can't. So I've been trying to pick up some as I see these new Image series starting by creators that I know and trust. I've been dabbling in those. Mostly, I just paint miniatures.
Yeah, I know.
I saw that. They look phenomenal. I don't know that I could do that anymore. My eyes are not quite so good, even with the glasses. It's amazing. I know you have a setup with a huge magnifying glass.
Actually, well, I don't use the magnifying. I have little like goggle things that have magnifying glasses on, but I don't use them that much. Wow. Actually. I mean, sometimes for super careful parts, but
yeah.
They're getting ready. They're releasing these new like steampunk dwarf things, Games Workshop, and they're these amazing like airships. Oh my god, I'm all over them. I can't wait till they come. It's about 2 weeks until I get my hands on one. Yeah, you won't see anything from me while I work on that.
Pants, did you watch the new Doctor Who?
I did. What do you think?
I liked it. The first 15-20 minutes was a little bit all over the place as they were going through the timeline of things happening to Bill. I liked that it was a little creepy at first, but they pulled it out in the end. I like that. I like Bill's part in it for how it turned out. I did think that at one part they made a little bit too much fun of her for not being super smart right away. There was just one little interaction that they it got there anyway, which was funny, but I didn't like that part, that one line that they said. But the rest of it, I didn't think it was too bad. I liked it more than I thought I would. Looking forward to seeing what they do with the rest of the season to lead to Peter Capaldi's exit.
Yeah, I try as best I can not to see things that are coming up, but just going online, you see things on the side. Like I know one of the villains that's coming back. Like I'm talking a really classic villain that they've changed for the new. It's coming back to the old. Of course, we know about that. He's not going to be continuing on with the show.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't see all that stuff, but I'm still enjoying it week by week. I actually just I dropped the cable last summer, and I was trying to find a way to get Doctor Who on without getting the cable, but I couldn't do it, so I actually got cable again. But I'm enjoying other things as well, some other episodes of other things. But so I started. Oh, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but I started Netflix. I finished. So I was watching West Wing on Netflix. Now I know you've been listening to that forever and ever.
Yeah, I've listened to it completely all the way through, and then I pick out favorite episodes every now and then to play in the background.
But now my binge show is Lost. I'm going back and watching
Okay.
Lost.
I keep wanting to do that too.
I'm about 20 episodes into the first season, and Now, with West Wing, there were things I had completely forgotten that happened. And with Lost, not so much, but some of the little things. So
Yeah.
I'm enjoying watching that again and going through that. Now, Chris, you said you finished Iron Fist, did you not?
I did.
Brian, did you watch Iron Fist at all?
We're on like episode 10, I think, so we have about 4 episodes to go.
All right, so Chris, tread with caution then if you don't spoil Brian.
Sure.
And I haven't watched any of that yet.
Oh!
I'm still on Luke
Are
Cage.
you guys got to go to a soundproof booth?
I can if you want to talk
Well, no,
about it.
I don't care, but if they may talk about it.
No,
Well, I can speak in generalities. You just want my general impressions on the show?
Absolutely. Because the last
Yeah.
time we talked, you only see about half of the episodes.
That's correct. Yeah, I finished up a couple of weeks ago. I'll say this. I mean, I love the Iron Fist character. I'm well versed in the character's history, so I went into it, with probably a different perspective than a more casual viewer of the Marvel Netflix series. I've heard a lot of scuttlebutt. A lot of people either had mixed feelings about the show or weren't very happy with it. Overall, I actually really enjoyed it. I don't think it's as strong as the other Marvel Netflix shows that have come out thus far. But as Shane mentioned about the first season of Rebels, which by the way I love, and I'm still way behind on Rebels, but I think Iron Fist, the Netflix concept, has a lot of potential. I think for some viewers, based on what I've been reading online and looking at the forums, etc., that I think a lot of people had issues with. Is it Finn Jones is the actor?
Yes.
Okay. With his performance and with the way he was portraying Iron Fist as a master of kung fu. No disrespect to Shang-Chi there. I think there's a couple things going on here. One, I think for me, I was like, oh, this makes sense because Danny Rand was living in Kunlun for basically his whole life. So when he returns to Manhattan, he's like this sort of wide-eyed guy who doesn't have his feet really planted on this new world. And I think that came out in his performance. I would like to think that's what they were going for there, because if that's the case, that makes sense in the context of Iron Fist and that character. Forgive me, I forgot who mentioned the forum, but a listener wrote in and said how apparently, and this I found incredibly hard to believe, but that he was only given 3 weeks to learn the kung fu for the show.
Wow, yeah.
Which, if that's true, I would just find that astounding, considering we've known there's going to be an Iron Fist show now for how many years, and I don't know if that's accurate, but forgive me, I forgot which listener posted it, and I appreciate the post. So, I mean, Brian has studied Kung Fu, so he can speak to this better, but just watching the show, it just seemed like in some of the fight scenes, I especially after the fact, having read that post, it seemed like he didn't have a good handle on what he was doing in those fight scenes. I also think some of the actors around him were stronger. Like, it's very hard to act against Rosario Dawson and be as good as Rosario Dawson. And so I thought the show was a little weak in some ways, but I thought enough of what makes the Iron Fist such a compelling character was there in the show. I thought Colleen Wing was fantastic, the way she was portrayed in the show. I like how they used the hand in the show, and how they tied it into the other Netflix series in different ways, through the use of the hand. Davos the Steel Serpent is brought in. Like, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. So I think if they can carry that forward into the second season and find their feet a little bit, and I still think Finn Jones has the potential to be a strong representation of Danny Rand. The Meacham brother and sister, for me, were some of the best parts of the whole season. Their dynamic and their role in what was going on in the show. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little weaker compared to the other episodes, but anytime Rosario Dawson's on the screen as night nurse, I'm a very happy man.
Yeah.
I've always just loved her as an actress, and I also think she's one of the most beautiful women on the planet, quite frankly. That character anchors all these shows, and I think I give hats off to the producers, the writers, etc., for using her character the way they have throughout all these shows, because as my dear friend and manager and friend of yours, Bill Ellis, has said, like, in the Iron Fist show, she's like the Greek chorus, constantly saying, wait a minute, why are you going to do that? That's probably a stupid thing to do. And she just plays that role very effectively, like this woman who's like thrust in these amazing events, and she's kind of out of her element, but she finds a way to make it work and to play a very pivotal role in what's going on around her. So her being in that show alone, I was enjoying it. But I think there's a lot of interesting facets of how they're using Iron Fist in the Marvel Universe via this Netflix show. I think if they just can get a little more fine-tuned, I think it could be top-notch. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
So I'll just speak real quickly to the Kung Fu. I mean, I'm hardly a master. I studied for 8 years, but much of his Kung Fu is not convincing to someone who has practiced, right? But I'm not super worried about that. 99.9% of the world has not studied Kung Fu, so they won't know whether it looks realistic or not, so that's fine. The things that I don't like are the inconsistencies. Like, in one scene, he'll, punch somebody and knock him out in one punch, and in the next scene, he's getting hit 3 times before he knows what's happening. It's like, now come on, if you're a superhero and you're a master of Kung Fu, then you don't get punched, except by the biggest, most badass person there is, right? So I hate those inconsistencies. And it's not just Iron Fist, it's every action movie ever where your hero is completely dominating in one scene and then he gets caught off guard by some 2-bit punk the next, and you're like, now come on, that's not realistic.
Actually, Brian, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something I meant to go over, and I forgot. Thank you. Is that, and I think you saw this episode. The one, again, without spoiling, he's fighting the Meacham security guard in, like, the file room?
Yeah.
Like, this is just like a security, all right, so maybe he's like a mercenary or something. This is the Iron Fist.
Right, yes.
Like, except for Shang-Chi, no one can touch him as a martial artist in the Marvel Universe. And it takes him 10 minutes to beat this guy. And that's where I also thought the show was a bit lacking. You cannot defeat him, essentially. He's trained in Kunlun for 15 years. So,
right.
That struck me as a little odd. All right, he should be wiping the floor with this guy in 30 seconds or less.
Yeah, not even 30 seconds. It would be 3 seconds, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like our rule. Like our teacher in Kung Fu would be like, if the fight lasts longer than 5 seconds, you've lost, right? Because now the element of surprise, all that stuff, it's gone, right? And yeah, that scene in particular, Chris, made me angry. I was just like, oh, come on. Now, this is so ridiculous. And then, of course, the files burn and he can't get the file. Oh, because the guy, so stupid, Yeah, that guy, even if he was like ex, Navy SEAL or something, right, he wouldn't even know what hit him. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No one says ridiculous like Bryan Deemer, by the way.
Especially
God, I miss that.
It's ridiculous.
I love you, honey.
And I love your honey.
Phew. We're almost to the end of the episode. I was waiting for that. My faith has been vindicated. Thank you, sir. Thank you for macking on my wife yet again. Outstanding.
You're welcome. Persistence.
Let's see, a couple of things that came across my plate here. Did anybody see that there is going to be an ongoing Adventures of Athena Voltaire?
Yes. Very excited about that.
Steve Bryant has a Kickstarter that's actually already been funded.
That's awesome.
And actually it runs through May 5th. Yes, Athena Voltaire coming back to ongoing comics.
Great.
That's fantastic.
I'm looking at it, and there's like a couple of original art pages that's like already gone. The cover's already gone on the Kickstarter. So yeah, wow, it was 16. As we record this, was like over 2 weeks ago. He's already over his goal of $5,000 and
terrific.
almost at $6,000.
Fabulous.
It's excellent. It's good stuff.
Pants, did you see, I know that you shy away from purchasing of things in the toy realm. Mm-hmm. However, did you see Sideshow has a 10th Doctor Who doll?
I did not.
Check it out.
Sideshow?
Yeah, it looks sweet.
Oh.
It's expensive,
of
but it's
course,
sweet.
But they make the good stuff.
Yeah, they do.
Now, don't tell me that.
It's awesome.
Don't tell me that.
I was trying to think what I could sell to get it.
Seriously?
Yeah. What couple things could I sell that I could...
Is it available to order now? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I think so.
And it's...
$250.
Oh, man.
That's why I'm not ordering it yet.
I'm going to see, if you said it's the 10th Doctor?
Yep.
Yeah, all right, I see.
He's got the coat, he's got glasses, 3D glasses.
That's a really good likeness.
A couple sonic screwdrivers, 2 adipose, But
don't start.
Okay.
Don't start with me with those things. You know how I can get.
I know. That's part of the fun. But
Part of the fun for who?
for me,
What are you my neighbor now? Like I neighbor you with the Star Wars figures? Is that how that works?
just a little bit. But yeah, I thought that above most, you'd appreciate those.
Don't make me look at these things here. Now, again, I wasn't actually going to be here because of Poking It, but Adam, you actually had a previous gig tonight, and you want to talk about what you're doing?
Well, not at any great length.
Oh.
But for the first time in over a decade, I'm getting up on stage and doing a musical again.
Yay.
It's a local community theater group, and we're doing a production of Little Shop of Horrors.
I want to see it.
He's a plant. Feed me, feed me, Seymour.
I will be there, Murd. I will be there.
Oh, excellent.
No, he's not the plant.
Happy to hear that there's going to be a Bridgewater contingent in the audience. Thank you, Chris. Yeah,
You bet.
I'm actually playing Orin Scrivello, DDS, the
Nice.
sadistic leather jacket wearing dentist.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Steve Martin in the film, if you
Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah, it's a fun part to play. It's really.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, we were supposed to be having a rehearsal tonight, but the lady playing Audrey had finals or something. So, instead, I'm here with all of you folks talking about comics.
and
And
we're
darn
both-
happy to be here.
And because you happen to be here,
All right. Butter me up and then...
again, they don't give these shows to chimps.
I'd really like to talk about what you're doing, but
Chimps have better things to do.
rope you into a game.
So once again, it's time for Muddle the Murd, our trivia segment. Let's jump right into it. And now Chris actually involves you a little bit as well. Now, this actually is
All right.
an old entry. It's in our queue. It's from last September. It's from David Haverstick. He goes, "Hello, fellow geeks. I recently flew to Newark and had some time before my flight back home to stop by the Wild Pig. What a great place," he says. Now, this next sentence has me confused. He goes, "Blue was very polite and helpful." Who is Blue?
Wonder if he means Bill? Is it-
Maybe.
It could be Bill, or it could be Lewis, who's a very fine fellow who helps us out in the evenings.
All right. But anyway,
Probably Bill, though, I think.
Victim
Okay.
of autocorrect, perhaps.
okay. Anyway, let's jump right into it. Question 1. Independent pre-1970.
Have we told...
Oh my God, you're right. I forgot
David what he's playing for.
Because you've been muddled so many times recently. I'm sorry. We are.
I'm in a bit of a slump, it's true.
We're digging into the archives. We're going to offer up an original art page to the winner of the next Muddle Murd, which could be David here. It's going to be a page from Courtney Crumrin and the Night Things. And the artist is Ted, Neifeh.
Yeah, I think it's Knifehead, but I'm not at all
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
It's
it's from Oni Press.
Yep, this is page 8. So if you happen to muddle the Murd, you'll get this wonderful original art page. So yeah, back to the show. So let's jump right back in here with the questions 3. Again, the first question is, I lost it here. Where did it go? Independent pre-1970s.
All right.
In Magnus Robot Fighter 4000 AD, issue number 23, it's very specific. Which weapon does villainous Lorena threaten to use on Magnus?
The candlestick in the parlor. When in doubt, go for the laugh.
Well, it worked.
I have no idea.
But I'm an easy going. So the answer is thermo ray.
Yeah.
I was close to my thought. I was thinking magnet.
All right. These are sort of very specific, but we'll see what the judges say. Question 2, DC 1970 to 2000. In Detective Comics number 595, the cover proudly proclaims bonus book free 16-page second feature. I'm not Shane's nodding his head there.
I remember that.
What is the title of this second feature?
It's not even the name of the property. It's the...
No, what's the title? He wants that original art page.
Wow.
I wonder if he wasn't a Courtney Crumrin fan before, I guess. He's on his way.
I can picture the cover. I can't tell you the title of that book, that part.
Doom of the Anal Squigglers.
No, I'm sorry. I don't even know how to respond to that. But no, the answer is cold cuts. Question 3. Marvel 2000 to the present.
Shane's coming apart.
In Deadpool's Secret Wars #1, pages 4 to 5, it features an ensemble cast of primarily Avengers and X-Men. Name either the Avengers or the X-Men that are present. Bonus points. Name the remaining assembled, mostly heroes. Do you want to try for the Avengers that are there or the X-Men that are there?
It's kind of equally hopeless either way.
I get it, but hey, at least you could just you know heroes.
How many names am I supposed to be providing here?
All right, let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 Avengers and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 X-Men.
Ugh. Well, since nowadays I think there are even more past Avengers than there are past X-Men. Since at least mutanity is still a membership requirement. I'm not sure what
Mutanity.
mutant. State of being a mutant. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. No, I like the word.
Bleh. So yeah, okay. So 7 Avengers and 8 X-Men, or am I getting that backwards?
No, you are correct.
Okay, all right. So and this is the Secret War. So this is just recently.
Deadpool's Secret Wars #1.
Brother. Okay, so I'm just going to name 7 random Avengers.
Okay.
And if even one of them is wrong, I've been muddled.
Correct.
Squirrel Girl.
That's it. I'm sorry. It's all over.
I'm wrong. Okay. It's Deadpool. I thought.
Let's see. Iron Man, Hawkeye, Thor, Cap, the Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, She-Hulk, and Wasp. The X-Men are Professor X, Storm, Nightcrawler, Rogue, Wolverine, Cyclops, Colossus, and Lockheed.
So these are characters who are actually in the original Secret Wars.
I don't know.
That's true.
And the bonus is Hulk, Spider-Man, Mr. Fantastic, Human Torch, The Thing, and Magneto.
Yep, these are all characters
all
that
Secret
were...
Wars characters.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. He says, thanks again, and he says, P.S. Tell Blue that Stick says hi. Blue. All right, so now...
I'm going to call Bill Blue from now on.
The name Haverstick is familiar to me because my family veterinarian was named Dr. Haverstick when I was a young man, and I do feel a bit like I've been spayed or neutered after this muddling attempt. So,
all right, well, now here's the thing that may actually save you some postage. David says in his letter here, he goes, I feel better saying thank you if any of you comes to C2E2. If he's going to be at C2E2, maybe you may want to see if he wants to pick up in person.
yeah, maybe. Well, of course, then we have to get this there. Then
what's all this Wii stuff? It's all yours now.
Yeah, well, this isn't going to fit into either of my intended carry-ons, so maybe I happen to have bought some very large padded mailers recently because, given my recent track record, it pays to be prepared. So,
all right. So anyway, it looks like we are down to in the queue only 2 Muddle the Murds left, and they're actually from March, so they're more recent. So. Get those, because clearly you got a shot now at some artwork. Because
easy pickings, folks.
He's off his game.
Smell the blood in the water and come. Although, in fairness, those were some pretty brutal questions.
I understand.
Questions.
I understand, but hey, he went to the Wild Pig. Let's throw him a bone. Basically.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming by the shop.
Reward him for his loyalty. So,
Okay.
yes, thank you, David. That was a surgeon's work you did on me.
All right. Well, then we'll wrap it up. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us on this wonderful occasion to have everybody together.
It's nice to have a full house, so to speak,
So to
again,
speak,
for one of
yes.
these episodes.
Full house.
Once again, this episode is brought to you by Collection Drawers, fine maker of drawer boxes. Check them out at collectiondrawer.com.
Visit us at comicgeekspeak.com. To send an email, the address is comicgeekspeak@gmail.com. To leave a voicemail, the number is 267-702-6642. Send in some more Muddle the Murds. We apparently are needing them. Stop by thecomicforums.vanillaforums.com and let us know your thoughts on all the various topical things we covered today. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. Thanks to everyone who contributes to the episode. We appreciate it. We get a kick out of the emails and the Murds and the Muddles that we encounter. And as always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.